going to give this to you.
Whoa.
Good afternoon. Today I'd like to talk to you about the oops factor. This is a term that I recently made up in working in putting together today's speech. Now we've all wondered how things were invented. You'll look around you during a day and say, I wonder what the inventor was thinking. We all think this, right?
Yes, many times.
Well, these items all have something in common. It was not creative genius. It was not hours and hours of thinking and struggling. These, my friends, were accidental inventions. Accidental inventions or discoveries. The first one is America's favorite snack food, the potato chip.
Woohoo!
1853 in Saratoga Springs, New York. There was a chef, and his name was George Crumb. That was apropos, huh? George Crumb. He was working in a restaurant called the Saratoga Restaurant and got very upset with the patron because the patron kept sending his french fries back. They're not crispy enough. They're not thin enough. I don't like them. So after the third or fourth time, he was so frustrated that he cut this potato paper thin and he fried it as hard as he could, as much as he could possibly fry it, and he sent it back out, thinking, well, this should shut him up. Well, the patron loved it. The patron loved it. And then other tables started saying, what is he eating? What's he carrying on about? So they started ordering them. Then word got out that there were these fancy chips, and they were called the Saratoga chips for years and years. And then later became what we know as the potato chip. Now, staying on the same theme as food, you all have been given a chocolate chip cookie. Now, you might think that's because I'm nice, which I am, but there's another reason. The chocolate chip cookie was also an accidental discovery. Mrs. Wakefield worked at a place called the Toll House Inn, and she used to make her guests chocolate cookies every day. Well, one day she's out of cocoa powder. So she sees this Nestle chocolate bar and breaks it up, puts it in the dough, thinking, I'll get the same results. Well, she didn't. They didn't melt like she thought they would. However, they became very popular and America's favorite cookie. They were called for a long time the Toll House Crunch.
Oh.
Then it got more and more popular, and Nestle's heard about it. So they offered to buy this from her, and you know what she asked for? Not money. She asked for a lifetime supply of chocolate. And that's what she got in exchange for what we know as the chocolate chip cookie. Now that we've got our taste buds going, we're going to move on to toys. My favorite toy, the Slinky.
Aw.
Slinky, Slinky, remember that one? Oh, what a wonderful toy. Slinky, Slinky, fun for a boy and girl. This was made in 1943. A naval engineer was working on something for a naval battleship, for the instruments of a naval battleship. And one of the springs fell out onto the floor and just kept moving. And he thought, well, how interesting. And he spent a year after that creating what's known today as the Slinky. Now he thought, well, we're not sure this is going to catch on. His wife named it. She named it the Slinky, which in Swedish means tri-spiral. Now the children in the neighborhood loved it, but they weren't sure it was going to catch on. They went to a Gimbel's department store, and they had a grand opening. This is where the item was debuted in 1943. They weren't sure it was going to sell, Within 90 minutes, the first 90 minutes, 400
Wow.
Slinkies were sold. Now, they come in many different shapes, sizes, and colors. As you see, this is a beautiful pink one, which we don't see. Mostly they're metal, or silver-looking metal. After we're done eating our chips and playing with our toys, we move on to another toy, which is our Frisbee. Now, I chose the smaller Frisbee today so that we can have a demonstration without decapitating anyone. So if I could ask Dr. Jim and Joe to show us how the Frisbee works.
Well, it depends. How do you want to do it?
There you go, and Bet. It's the wrist action, folks.
That's
Yes.
right.
There we go. So the Frisbee, you will find this a fascinating story. There is controversy over the Frisbee. The Frisbee, there was a Frisbee pie company
Okay.
in Massachusetts, and they provided pies for Yale University. Yale University students decided, of course, after eating their pies, that they had these pie plates. What would you think of doing? Let's start tossing them back and forth to each other. So flying pie plates became what we know today as Frisbees. Now, someone in California was designing something similar to that at the same time. He was a UFO enthusiast, and he named his product, which was very similar, the Pluto Platter, and sold it to Whamco for $1 million. Whamco later on found out about the Frisbee at Yale University and renamed it the Frisbee. Our final product, which is the most recently invented, was the Post-it note, 1974. What would we do without the Post-it note? The Post-it note was created from a scientist at the 3M company. Very, very light glue was used. And it wasn't what they had wanted it to be. So they put it aside. And later on in church, the scientist his bookmarks kept falling out of the hymnal. So he used this lighter glue to keep the bookmark in the hymnal. And there we came up with the Post-it note. So when you are all out there throwing your Frisbees while you're eating your potato chips and your chocolate chip cookies, I hope that you all remember the oops factor. Thank you.
Woohoo.